Before starting the sessions, let me introduce myself. So I'm Sonu Sathyadas, working as an assistant manager technology at Synergetics. I'm into training from the last 15 years, so mostly working with the Microsoft technologies, mostly the cloud and AI. And I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and as well as an AWS authorized instructor delivering sessions on AWS as well as Microsoft certifications. So since this is a Microsoft Open AI session, so today I want to give you some information about the Azure Open AI service. So, since this is a very what, uh, not very lengthy session, so I just want to quickly cover some of the aspects of the Azure Open AI and the RAG architecture. So, in today's session, I'll be talking about the Azure Open AI and why we have to go for the Azure Open AI and how we can build AI solutions using the Azure AI Foundry, the formerly called as Azure AI Studio. And we will also talk about the Retrieval Augmented Generation architecture. So how we can customize the models, specifically the GPT models in the AI Foundry with our custom data. And as the time permits, we'll talk about the content filter as well. So let's get started. So I hope all of you must be familiar with the generative AI, at least the AI services. So since the world is now moving towards the AI solutions, uh, and everywhere we are using the generative AI services, specifically the Open AI services. So yes, we have various generative AI models. So what is this generative AI solutions or generative AI models? So how it is different from the traditional AI models? So just a quick update. Yes, if you are using the traditional AI or deep learning models, like machine learning models or the deep learning models, they are specifically used to uh, do some calculations. It may be a statistical or mathematical calculations and giving you some predictions, or it will help you to take some decisions. So that means when you provide some input data, these models works on this data. Maybe they will do some processing on this data and give you some insight. It may be your vision services, or maybe the speech related services, or the natural language processing solutions, or whatever AI solutions that you create. All these traditional AI models are going to give you some kind of output based on the input that you provide. But in generative AI models, as the name suggests, so it is going to generate some fresh new contents. It may be in the form of text, or maybe the image, or maybe the video, or maybe some other kind of output. So for that, what you need to do is you have to give an instruction to the generative AI model. Oh, hey, model, I want to generate this, or I want to create such kind of an output. So you just need to tell the model, and the model is capable to go and create such an output. So you can tell the model, okay, I want to create a poem, I want to create a blog, I want to draw an image, or I want to create an audio output. Even that you can do now with this generative AI models. So there are various generative AI uh, models and model providers available. So even Microsoft has its own generative AI models. Meta That is, the Facebook company has its own generative AI models like Llama. Google has its own generative AI models. AWS has its own generative AI models. But yes, the most commonly used generative AI models are from OpenAI. Yes, OpenAI is an organization that develops different types of generative AI models. It may be a text-based, or it may be a vision-based, or it may be image-based, or it may be the audio-based. So they are creating different types of generative AI models. So what is your requirement? You can go and choose a particular generative AI model type from the OpenAI's models. Yes, if you want to go and use any of these OpenAI model, you can directly go and subscribe these models from the OpenAI's website. So you can go to the openai.com and subscribe to their models. So there are different pricing options they are providing. Yes, you can go and subscribe those uh, 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 those models by creating a subscription. But if you see, Microsoft Azure is one of the largest cloud service provider, is also providing the open AI services um, through their cloud environment. Means if you have a Microsoft Azure subscription, you can go and deploy the open AI services or open AI models via the Azure subscriptions. So now the question is, why I have to go for the Azure Open AI if I can directly go and consume this Open AI services? So yes, there are some benefits you get when you go and subscribe the Open AI models using the Azure subscription or using the Azure account. So yes, Microsoft is one of the partner, or Microsoft is funding for the Open AI so that these Open AI models are available in the Microsoft Azure platform as well. So you can go and access all the latest Open AI models using the Azure account. Means if you have an Azure account, you can go and create an OpenAI account or OpenAI resource and deploy whatever models you like. So these models include the GPT-4 models or GPT 3.5 models or the embeddings models or DAL-E models. So you may be confused. If you are new to generative AI, you may be confused what is this models. So GPT models, that is generative pre-trained models, are typically text-based models. So that means you can give a text instruction to the model, and the model is going to create a text output. For example, you can tell the model, hey, model, I want to go and create a blog on artificial intelligence, or I want to go and write a poem on regarding the flowers and fishes or whatever topics you give. So the model is going to give you the text output. But if you look at the new GPT models like a GPT-4 or GPT-4o mini or GPT-4 real time, so these models are multi-models, or multi-model models means they are capable to accept text as well as image as an input, or text as well as audio as an input. So that means you can go and deploy any generative pre-trained transformer models. It may be GPT 3.5, which is completely text-based models, or a GPT-4 model, which is a multi-model model for creating the text-based output. So nowadays, even school students are completing their assignments using this GPT model. So they simply go to chat GPT and say, okay, so I have to go, means I have to create a simple story, or I have to create an article on a particular topic. So they will get the complete output or complete article generated by this chat GPT or Microsoft Copilot or that kind of generative AI solutions. Similar to GPT, there is embeddings models. So embeddings model is one of the very important model used by the AI developers. So it may be not used by the end users like us. Suppose if I am an end user of an AI application, I may not use this embeddings model directly. Then who will be using this embeddings model? So embeddings models are typically used to convert your input data. It may be the text data or image. So image embeddings are now upcoming, but now currently we have the text embedding models. So this text data that you provide will be converted into embeddings. So what do you mean by embedding? So embeddings means simply the numeric representations or vector representations of that text. So whatever text you provide, these text data will be converted into some kind of numeric values. So these numeric values can be later used for similarity search. So what is similarity search? I will explain later in the slides. So embedding models are typically used for creating the vector embeddings of the text data. And DAL-E is one of the image generation model from OpenAI. Suppose if you want to go and draw an image, you can just describe what you want in this image. It's simply draw that image in various styles. So you can go and say, okay, I want a realistic image. I want a cartoon image, or I want a Picasso style image. So you can specify the style of the image as well as the description. It's going to draw the image for you. And if you are going to use these OpenAI models using the Azure, you can simply go and deploy the models within this Azure cloud. Wherever your customer resides, you can go and deploy these models in that particular region. And it is also helps you to consume these models using the REST APIs or SDK. Means if you are an application developer, you can consume these models directly via the REST APIs. Means there will be an HTTP endpoint and the authentication key. So you can use this HTTP endpoint and the authentication key to consume this model. Or you can use programming SDKs. Like if you're a Python developer, you can use the Python SDK. Or if you are a .NET developer, you can use the .NET SDK. So whatever language you use, you can go and use a particular SDK for consuming this OpenAI models. And these models supports customization also, because these OpenAI models are pre-trained models. These are already trained with millions of data which is available in internet. Yes, if you go and ask the model who is the president of United States, or when India won the last World Cup, you can ask these questions to this GPT models, and the model will be able to give you the answer. But what if you go and ask some industry specific or domain specific or organization specific or personal questions like, okay, so I am Mr. Sonu, I'm working in synergetics. So I'm going to ask the model, okay, can you write a one paragraph about Sonu who is working in synergetics? So the model simply say, no, I don't know who is Sonu. I don't know what is synergetics or where is synergetics, right? So that means the model is already trained with a set of data which is available in internet. It will be just generic data. It's not an organization specific data. It's not a person specific data. So if you go and ask, okay, can you tell me the reimbursement policies of Synergetics? Or can you tell me the employees leave policies of Synergetics? It cannot tell you. It will tell you, okay, generally these are the leave policies, but this may vary from your organization to another organization, right? So what if I want to create an AI solution or AI application that can answer my organization specific or domain specific or person specific questions? So then we have to customize the model. For customizing these models, we can use fine tuning or RAG, that is Retrieval Augmented Generation. So fine tuning, I'll just explain in just few sentences. So fine tuning means you will be retraining the model with another set of data. Suppose you have some organization specific data, which is formatted in a particular structure or like a messages structure. You can ingest this data to the model and then you can train this model. So when you retrain this model, the model will update. The model gets updated with the new information that we are ingesting. So then you can publish or you can deploy this as a new model. So it's a new version of the model, which is now aware about the data, custom data that we have provided. But yes, it requires a lot of time and compute. So if you want to do fine tuning, you may require a GPU based machine. So using a simple laptop, if you try to do fine tuning, it may take years. So yes, if you have to do fine tuning or retraining this existing models with your custom data, it requires a powerful compute. Maybe you require a GPU based machine. And also the time which is required for retraining this model will be higher. So it may takes maybe days or months or years based on the size of the data that you are going to use. Then you have to evaluate it after the training. So it will be a time consuming process, which requires a lot of effort, time, and resource. Then what is the easiest way to customize this model? The easiest way to customize the model is RAG. That we will explain in detail in the coming slide. So if you want to customize your models in Azure, you can do that very easily with Azure AI Foundry. So Azure AI Foundry is a web UI interface which will help you to go and deploy the base models. You can evaluate these models. You can test the models. You can build custom AI solutions, and you can do more. So this Azure AI Foundry is the portal which Microsoft Azure is offering for the AI developers to build and deploy the AI solutions very quickly. So now the question is, yes, if I'm deciding to use the OpenAI models, why I have to choose the Azure OpenAI? Why can't I use the OpenAI subscription directly? The reason or the reasons why we have to go for the Microsoft Azure OpenAI is it provides scalability and reliability by leveraging the Azure global infrastructure, which means if you are trying to use the OpenAI models directly from the directly from the OpenAI subscription. So you may be consuming these models from directly from the OpenAI servers, which may be located in US or maybe some remote locations, but your customers are from India. And if you make the AI applications for the India customers, for every request, the request will travel from India to US, right? So there will be a latency. And you don't have control over the servers, or you don't have control over the infrastructure. So you cannot go and deploy your OpenAI models in your own location. But if you use the Azure OpenAI, you can go and deploy your models wherever you want. For example, if I'm a Microsoft Azure user and my customers are from India, I can go and deploy my OpenAI models in an India region. But if my customers are from US, I can go and deploy in the US region, so that it will reduce the latency, right? And behind the scene, these models are deployed on the Azure infrastructure. So the Azure VMs will be used to run this models. So, Microsoft Azure is providing scalability and reliability with its infrastructure. And another benefit of using the Azure OpenAI is it give you the virtual network support, which means suppose if I want to deploy my models in Azure, but I want to make sure that these models are only accessible from my organization network. So then you can go and deploy these models within a virtual network and create a private link access. Or you can say, okay, these models are accessible only from selected networks. So if you are an Azure user, now we can understand almost every PaaS services provides the virtual network support that will allow you to access the models only from the selected networks. And you can control the access by creating managed identity. So it can be a system assigned or user assigned a managed identity. You can assign certain type of permissions to those applications and services for accessing the AI services. Suppose if you have an Azure AI search or you have an storage account. So your Open AI model needs to go and access your storage account. You can go and assign certain permissions to the Open AI models using this managed identity. As I mentioned, it will give you the seamless integration with the Azure services. You can easily connect to the AI search services. You can connect to the storage account. You can connect to the content safety service and so on. And if you are a new uh, user, or if you are new to the Gen AI solutions, you can easily build your AI solutions with Azure AI Foundry, which is a web portal where you can go and deploy your models, evaluate, test, and customize your models. And you can also configure the content filters. So in other ways, I can say it's guardrails. Suppose if I want to secure my prompt or secure my AI solutions by applying some kind of security policies, like suppose if content moderation is required, or I want to create a block list, means I want to block specific phrases and words, or I want to make sure my responses are based on a specific content, that is groundedness. Okay, so you can ensure that your AI applications are highly secure by creating this content filters. And obviously, the Microsoft is providing an enterprise grade support to its customers, 24 by 7 support to its customers. So these are some of the reasons why we have to go for the Azure Open AI instead of the Open AI directly. So I have discussed about the Azure AI Foundry, which is the web UI interface where you can create and deploy the model. Suppose if you want to deploy an AI model, you can do that using this Azure AI Foundry. You can use the playgrounds to test your deployed models. If you want to configure RAG-based solutions, you can do that using the AI Foundry. So I'll show you a simple demo, so how we can use this Azure AI Foundry. So yeah, let me take you to the Azure portal first. So here I have already deployed one AI service. This is my Azure Open AI resource, which I have deployed, as you can see. So if you want to deploy a new resource, you can go to the Azure AI Services dashboard, and here you can see this uh, the Azure Open AI. So this you can go and deploy. I have already deployed one instance of this Azure Open AI. So that is in East US location. And if I go inside this Azure Open AI, you can see it is providing a key and endpoint. So as a developer, if you want to go and consume the models which is deployed as part of this Open AI, you can use this authentication key, maybe the key one or key two, along with this endpoint. And if you want to enable managed identity for controlled access or providing certain privileges to the model for accessing certain resources like a storage or AI search or something like that, you can enable the managed identity for that. And if you also want to configure uh, VNet support, means you want to make sure that your OpenAI service is accessible only from selected networks. You can go and configure the networks here. So currently, I have enabled access from all the networks, including the public network, right? So you can even create the private endpoint connections to the Azure OpenAI. So now, if I want to go to the Azure AI Foundry, so I can click on this. It will take me to the Azure AI Foundry portal. So here you can see this Azure AI Foundry. So in Azure AI Foundry, if you scroll down, you will see an option for deploying the models. So in the AI Foundry, you will see lots of open AI models. So you can see the complete list of models which is available in the model catalog. So here you can see the model catalog. In this model catalog, you can see all the open AI models which is available on Azure. You can see the DALL-E, you can see the text-to-speech GPT-4 models, GPT-4o mini, and you can even see the Whisper. Okay. There are a lot of models, like including the embeddings models and so on. Suppose if I have to go and build an AI solution using one of this model, I can simply go and do a deployment. So here you can see I have already deployed two models. One is a GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K model, and another one is a text embeddings model. If I have to go and deploy another model, I can go and do that here. If you have a customized model or a fine-tuned model, then you can deploy that fine-tuned model as well. So if you want to deploy a base model, which is a pre-trained model, here you can see the complete list of model, and you can choose any one of this. For example, GPT-4o mini, I want to deploy. So I can select that, and it will ask you where you want to deploy. It's in East US. So I'll go with that. And if you want to customize the configuration parameters, you can do that and simply click on deploy. Yes, simply you have deployed an instance of this GPT-4o mini. And here you will see an option for testing this models with a playground. So you can click on this to open this in the playground. So what is this playground? Playground is a place where you can go and converse with the model like a simple chat. Like, so here you can ask any questions to the model. Okay, so maybe write a poem about birds and flowers. Here you can see I'm asking the model to write a poem about birds and flowers, and I'm using this GPT 3.5 model here. So here you can choose whatever model you want to use. So I'm using this GPT 3.5, and here is the system instruction which helps to customize the persona of the model. Okay, so here simply I'm just asking the model to write a poem. As you can see, it just simply creates a poem for me, right? So this is the chat playground. Like we also have the image playground for testing the DAL-E models. We have the real-time audio playground for testing the GPT-4 real-time audio model. So that is you can means accept the audio input and converse with this models. So this playground simply helps you to test the models and try out some of the features of this uh, generative AI models. But yes, whatever questions I ask here, it will be answering those questions from its a pre-trained knowledge. For example, here I'm going to ask something like, okay, how far is moon from Earth? Yes, it is able to answer. And if I'm asking who is the president of United States? So when the model is trained or when the model is created at that time, whatever data it is used to train at that time, who was the president, it will give you that update. So as of my update, this is what means Joe Biden is the president. Okay, so you can see, so this model is trained with some data which may be an outdated one. So because yes, these models are published or released maybe some months back, okay, and it is trained with a set of data which is available on internet. So this data may be outdated now. So now we are going to see how we can go and customize this model to uh, create an AI solution that can answer my organization specific questions or user specific questions or industry specific questions. So I have already told there are two customization options we can use primarily. One is fine tuning, which is more expensive, and the next one is RAG. So what is RAG? Retrieval Augmented Generation is an architecture which helps the model to use the external knowledge or the custom data as a knowledge base, and it can answer the questions based on this knowledge base. For example, if I'm asking a question to the model, okay, can you tell me about Sonu Sathyadas? It cannot answer. Or how many years of experience he has, it cannot answer, right? But if I can ground the model with some data, then the model will go and answer the questions based on that grounded content. So it's very simple. I can tell you it's just like an the fine tuning and the RAG is simply I can say it's a one is a closed book exam and another one is an open book exam. So what you do in a closed book exam, suppose if next week you have an exam, so what you do is you will be training or you will be learning all these from the books, and you will remember all these informations in your memory. And whenever the exam happens, whenever the question comes, you will answer from your memory and you don't refer anywhere, right? But in RAG, what you do is you will be using and means it will be a open book exam, which means you don't need to go and learn anything or you don't need to go and remember anything in your memory. Instead of that, whenever the question comes, you can simply go and open the book, find the particular section, or you can go and find the answer from the textbook and give the answer. That means your brain is not updated or your memory is not updated. What you do is whenever the question comes, you simply go and refer the book, find where is the answer is placed. You will go and read that and you write the answer in your own sentence. Suppose if I'm asking about, okay, what is the Newton's third law? So I don't know what is Newton's third law. So what I do is I'll open the physics book, I'll go and I'll look at the index where is the Newton's third law is mentioned. I'll go to that particular page. I will read about that Newton's third law and then explain in my own sentence. This is what RAG, right? So that means if our memory or if my brain is not having that data, we will provide some external data. That means maybe in the form of book. I can refer that book and answer. Similarly, here the pre-trained models or the base models, they comes with some pre-trained knowledge. But if I'm asking something which is out of this pre-trained knowledge, then the model may give you some wrong answer. As you can see, what are the challenges of the large language models? The large language models means simply the Gen AI models. So they presenting false information when it does not have an answer. Suppose if I'm asking a question, who is Sonu Sathyadas? Or how many years of experience he has? So it don't know the answer. So it may be giving you a wrong answer, or or else it will tell you, no, I don't know this answer, right? And presenting an out of date or generic information when the user expect a specific current response. So I'm expecting a correct answer, but whenever I go and ask, it will giving you an out of date answer. For example, you saw that I was asking who is the president of United States, and it's saying Joe Biden. So that's an old information, right? Out of date information. Or in some cases, if I'm going and asking, so it will give you some generic information. For example, can you tell me about the leave policies? So I'm expecting that what is my company's leave policies or reimbursement policies. But what the model is going to give you is, so these are some leave policies followed by some companies. So it will give you some generic information, not the specific information to my organization, right? So that means it may give you an out of date or generic information where I'm expecting some specific and current data. So creating a response from a non-authoritative sources. So it may give you some answers from maybe a internet information. Suppose if you go and ask Copilot, the Copilot may refer internet and give you an answer, so which may not be a correct data, right? So creating inaccurate responses due to terminology confusion, wherein different training sources use the same terminology to talk about different things. So in different domains, different scenarios, we use the same word for representing or for referencing different entities, right? So in that case, the model will be confused whether I'm asking about what. Okay, suppose if I'm going and asking, okay, can you tell me how to create a chain? So chain, what I am expecting is the lang chain. Okay, but what the model is understanding how to create a chain and it will tell you, okay, the chain is created from the iron. Okay, so the iron chains will be explained. So it will give you a wrong answer because the word chain, what I am expecting is the lang chain, but the model is understanding is a different chain, right? So that kind of confusions may come. So for avoiding that, we can customize the model, or we can infuse some custom data. Okay. So how we'll go and create such AI applications by infusing the custom data? That's very simple. For that, we need to use vector databases or vector data sources. So I'll tell you a scenario first, and then I can tell you how that can be done. Consider that I have a travel agency, and we are providing different services to our customers. So if the customer wants to book a flight, we are providing that function, that feature. If the customer wants to arrange a visa, so we will do that. Or if the customer wants money exchange, we will provide that support. If the customer wants to do a hotel booking abroad, we will do that. So that means whatever uh, uh, features the customer in the sense a tourist wants to do. So we will provide that functionalities. Okay. So currently, what what we are doing, the customer will visit our on premise and contact our service provider or agent, and they will be arranging everything. So for that, they have to visit our office, or they have to call our agent, and they will communicate each other and providing the service. But what I have decided, okay, we will automate this. So what I'm going to do, I'll create an AI application, a chat agent I'm going to create, and I'll publish that chat agent in our website, so that if the customer wants to know about the services that we are offering, they can directly go to the website and ask the chat agent. For example, if the customer wants to know, okay, so I want to travel to Dubai. So are you providing any accommodations in Dubai? So what we are expecting is the AI model or the agent needs to provide the list of hotels uh, where where we have tie up with, and where the customers will get the discount. Okay. So for that, we need to create an AI application, means a chat agent. So what I can do is I can use a generative AI model in my chat application. So when I create a chat agent or chat application, I will use an AI model, generative AI model, to answer the questions of my customers. So whenever the customer come and ask, okay, I want to travel to Dubai, so where I can stay. So what my expectation is, the AI agent needs to provide the hotels informations where we are providing the support, or we are providing the accommodations. But what is the problem is, since we are using a base model which is trained with the internet data, it will go and give complete list of hotels available in Dubai, or it will give you the incorrect informations. Okay. Because maybe we are not providing services on a particular city, but if the customer is coming and saying, okay, what are the different hotels we can stay in Delhi, but unfortunately in Delhi we are not providing the service. But what the model is saying, the model is already trained with some good hotel names in Delhi. So it will tell you in Delhi, you can stay in this hotels. So let me show you that. So here, if I go to the AI Foundry, So here I'm going to ask the model. So here I'm saying, so you are an AI assistant that helps people to find information. So this is the system instruction or the system message that I'm giving to the model. So that means I'm setting the persona of the model. That means model is supposed to provide answers to the user's questions. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask a questions. I'm going to ask a question like I am planning to travel to Dubai. Can you suggest some good hotels? Okay, you provide accommodation. So I'm just asking this question because what I'm expecting is this chat agent needs to provide the list of hotels in Dubai where we have a tie-up or where we are providing the accommodation. Yes, see what is the result? We can see here it is giving a list of hotel names, but unfortunately, we are not providing support or we are not providing accommodations in these hotels. So what the model has done, it provided some generic information. This is this is not the list of hotels that we provide, or we are not providing any accommodations in Delhi. But if the customer is saying where I can stay in Delhi, provide some hotel names. So you can see it is suggesting some hotel names, but understand that this is a false information because we are not providing any accommodations in Delhi. Then how it can say that these hotels are available? So that means this is a pre-trained model, which is already trained with a list of hotels or list of accommodations. Okay, so that it whenever the customer go and ask a list of hotels in a particular city, the model is giving the answer. But what is my expectation is it has to provide only a specific list of hotels that we provide. Okay. For that, we can customize the model using RAG. So what is RAG? So in RAG, we will uh, create a custom data source. Like here we have our data, which is located in PDF documents or maybe in web URLs or in databases. So suppose my travel agency is providing a list of hotels or services in different cities. So that informations I have stored in a PDF or maybe it is available in my website. So what I'm expecting is my chat agent needs to answer the questions based on this data. But how the model will connect to the PDF and answer this question, or how the model go to the website and answer this question. So for that, we have to ingest or we have to provide this data to the model so that the model can answer this. So for that, the first thing we have to do is to create a vector storage, or we have to vectorize this data. So what we do for that, first, we will extract this data from this data sources like a PDF documents or websites or databases. Then we will split the data into small chunks. It may be equal sized chunks or variable sized chunks. So chunking is the process of dividing this data into small pieces. So first we will extract the data from this data sources as a text, and then we will split this data into small chunks, means small pieces, and then we use an embeddings model, OpenAI's embeddings model, to convert each of this chunk into a numeric representation. So these are called vector embeddings or vector representations of this data. So these vector representations of this data can be then stored into a database. So this database is a special type of database. It's not a traditional relational database or NoSQL database. It's a specific type of database that provides vector storage and the similarity search. So nowadays there are a lot of data storage solutions provides vector storage like MongoDB, Azure AI Search, Pinecone, Milvus, Fias, Chroma, Cosmos DB. So these all providing the vector storage support. So for doing this process, we need a framework or a tool. So we can use the Azure AI Foundry or the LangChain framework. LangChain is a Python framework which we can use to convert our text data into vector storage or vector data. So using this Azure AI Foundry or LangChain, we can convert this PDF data or text data into the vector storage. So once we have converted all the text data into vector format and stored inside the vector database, we can then develop our AI solution. So in this AI solution, what we do, whenever we provide a query to the chat application, so in our chat UI interface, whenever the user is providing a question, this question or query will be passed to an embeddings model. The embeddings model will convert this question into it's a numeric representation, and that numeric representation will be searched inside the vector database which we have already created. So this vector database already contains the numeric representations of all the data, and whenever I provide a question or query, so it will be converted into numeric data, and that is compared with the data which is stored in the vector database. So that process is called a similarity search. So when we do a similarity search, it will identify some of the matching information. Like as I mentioned, like open book exam, it will find some answers from the vector database, and these answers will be returned. So we can call them as matching documents. These matching documents will be returned. We will use this matching documents as a grounding content along with our actual query. So we have our question. So we'll be sending the actual question and the grounding content to the GPT model. So now the GPT model will use this information to answer this question. Okay, for example, if my question is about the hotels in Dubai, what it does, it first to go and convert my question into numeric data, go to the database and search for the hotels in Dubai or the information which is related to the hotels and Dubai. So whatever matching answers are found or matching informations found, it will be returned. That information along with my question will be passed to the GPT model. Now the GPT model is responsible to create the actual answer based on this grounding content. So this is the response or final response generated by this GPT model. So retrieval process means we are performing a similarity search inside the database, finding the matching answers, and then providing this matching answers to the GPT model. Okay, that is called a retrieval process, so retrieving the matching data. And then we are using this grounding content or matching documents along with the query passed to the GPT model to generate the answers. So it's called augmented generation. So we can do all these operations using a tool or a framework like a AI Foundry. We can do everything in AI Foundry, or I can use LangChain. Okay, LangChain is a Python framework. Let me quickly show you an example of this. See here, whenever I ask the accommodations in Dubai or Las Vegas or New York, it simply give generic answers. But my expectation is that it has to provide some hotels list which we are providing, which means our travel agency is providing. So let me give you an example. Like we have a travel agency called Margis Travel. This Margis Travel is providing various services like flight booking, visa, accommodations, currency exchange, transfers, excursions, and so on. So that means we are providing various services. Okay, and we are providing these services in various cities. Means we are providing the accommodations on various cities. So if you see here we have the information about Dubai. So in Dubai, we can see this is the information about Dubai. And these are some of the hotels which we provide accommodation. You can see the Creek Hotel, the Data Hotel, the Lost City Hotel, some of the hotel names. Similarly, we have hotels in Las Vegas, as you can see, the Volcano Hotel, the Fountain Hotel, the Canal Hotel, and we also have some hotels in New York where we can see Manhattan Hotel, the Grand Central, the Park Hotel, and so on. So in every city, we have 2 to 3 hotels which we are providing the accommodation. So I'm not opening all the documents. You can see in San Francisco also, we have some hotels, right? So what my expectation is, whenever I ask the AI agent that, okay, I want to travel to Las Vegas, can you provide some accommodation details or can you provide the list of hotels? So it is supposed to provide the hotel names from these documents. So for customizing my AI agent, I can go to the chat playground, that is an AI Foundry. And here is an option for adding your own custom data. That means you can provide the custom data source to the model that so that the model will answer your questions based on this custom data. So how? So I'm going to add this custom data source. And what I am going to do, here we can see various options for providing the data source. One option here you can see is uploading the files. Means I have my data in the PDF files, so I will choose this option to upload the PDF files to storage account. And from the storage account, we are going to convert these PDF data into vector data and store into a vector storage. So here I'm going to use the storage account, Azure storage account for storing this PDF data and Azure AI search for storing the vector data, that is a converted data. Okay, so here I'm going to select a storage account here. You can see this is the already created storage account. And here is my search service. So this search service is already provisioned. As you can see, this is my search service. And you can see there is no search index. Okay, search index means there is no search storage created. What I'm going to do, I'm going to specify the search index name so that it will vectorize those PDF data and then store inside the index. So I'm giving the name as Margis index. For vectorizing this data and performing the similarity search, we need an embeddings model. So I have already deployed an embeddings model so that I'm adding a vector search or similarity search using which model? So this model is helping us to vectorize the data as well as provide a vector search, right? So here we need to use a embeddings model here, right? So also while vectorizing this data, also we need an embeddings model. So that I have selected. Next, here I can provide the PDF files. So I have my PDF files stored here. I'm uploading these files. So it's uploaded all the PDF files. Next, I'm specifying my search type is a semantic search. That is, a similarity search will be performed along with the keyword search. Next, here you can see the chunk size. Can you see? I said the text data will be divided into small segments. Okay, so that each size or each chunk will have a 1024 token size, right? So this is the default size of each chunk. And then for authenticating with the search services, we can use the API key. Now, let me save this. Now here you can see my AI Foundry will do the conversion. So what it is doing now, it is indexing my data. Indexing my data means it is converting this PDF data, what I have uploaded into the blob storage, into the vector storage or vector format, and then storing into the AI search. So this, yeah, you can see this process is completed. Now, if you go back to the Azure portal and refresh, here you can see it creates a index. Here you can see the number of documents 0. It will update after some time. So inside this index, if you look at the columns, here you can see a column called content vector. So this is storing, or this column is actually storing the vector format of the data. And there is a content field which is storing the string representation of the data, right? So whenever we do a search, a similarity search, it will be searching the data on this vector and finding the matching informations and returns this content, that is the text data. And based on the text data which is returned, the model is going to answer the questions. Okay, so now let me go back to this. And here I'm going to ask the question, very simple question I'm asking. What are the different services you offer? So I'm just asking this question. So what is mean by you? That I'm not mentioning here. I'm just saying, okay, what are the different services you offer? You can see it's generating this answer. And it is now answering that Margis Travel offers a range of services. It includes flight, accommodation, transfers, visas, currency exchange, and excursions. And this information is generated based on which PDF data? The Margis Travel Company Info PDF, right? So very simple. Now I have not even mentioned what is meant by that you. So here the agent is acting as an human or agent of the Margis Travel, because it speaks only about Margis Travel. So whenever I ask anything about the hotels, accommodations, visas, it will consider, okay, it will assume that, okay, I am a agent from Margis Travel. So I have to answer as an employee or as a staff of the Margis Travel. So here I'm going to ask a next question. So I want to travel to Dubai. Where can I stay? So you saw previously it was giving a list of hotels, a generic list of hotels. Now you can see it is giving only three hotel names. That is the Creek Hotel, Dera Hotel, the Lost City Hotel, which is provided by this, right? That means now my AI model is answering these questions only based on the data which I have provided, right? So here I'm customizing my model. You can see now my model is able to speak about Margie's travel, right? Now it is talking about the products and services offered by this organization or this uh, company, right? So that is the benefit of customizing the models using RAG, right? So how it works or how it is happening? It's because it uses the vector data which I have stored as a grounding content for answering these questions. Right? So you may be confused what is meant by grounding content. Right? So I can just give you a simple example to make you understand what is a grounding content. So maybe you must have used a chat GPT. Okay, so okay, let me take some previous example. So I think you all of you must be familiar with this UI that is ChatGPT. So here, what I'm going to do, I will ask a question about a particular person. Okay, so simple question I'm asking, how many years of experience does Shivam have or has? So I'm asking a question. So it's saying that could you provide more information or more context about Shivam's experience? Because now the model don't know who is Shivam, where he is working, what is his profile is because the model don't know anything about that, right? So what I'm going to do now, I have some information about Shivam. So here you can see Shivam is an IT professional who works in Bytestream Technologies from last 13 years, and he started his career as a junior developer developing C++ and PHP. Now he is working as an assistant manager technology at Bytestream, so and so. So here is the complete information about Shivam. So what I'm going to do, I will provide this information as a grounding content, which means I'm telling the model answer all the questions based on this data only. So here you can see a system message or system instruction that I'm providing to the model that answer the user's questions based on the content which is provided below. If the question is not based on the grounding content, say I cannot answer this question. Means if you are asking some other question which is not covered in this, it is simply say I cannot answer this. Okay. So here now I'm placing a question here. This is my question. That is which of the technologies Shivam is working on. So now when I ask some information about Shivam, it will go and refer this data and then answer. So look at that. So here is my question, and I have already instructed the model to answer the questions based on this grounding content. Simple. You can see Shivam is currently working on the Azure and AWS cloud services. So now asking how many years of experience he has. See, Shivam has 13 years of experience. Now it is able to answer because I have already provided the complete information about him as a grounding content. Now all my answers will be generated, or all the questions will be answered based on this, right? So this is what called a grounding content. So in our RAG approach, what we are doing, we will make it a dynamic value. So here is the grounding data. So this grounding data is coming from the vector database. So whenever we make a similarity search here, you can see I'm asking a question. The question will go to the embeddings model and it will convert it into a vector data and search inside this vector database, and it returns this matching document. That means the grounding content, and this grounding content and my query will be sent to the model. That is, this grounding content which is returned from the database will be here. So if I'm asking about Shivam, it returns the data about Shivam. If I'm asking about maybe Prakash, it from the database, it returns the information about Prakash. If I'm asking about Mahesh, it returns the information about Mahesh. So whatever information I'm, or whatever question I'm asking from the database, it will retrieve that matching information, and then the question and the grounding content will go to the model, and model is generating the answer for me. So this process is called a RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. So here we are creating a simple custom AI application or custom AI agent based using this AI Foundry, where what we have done is we have configured a data source that is inside the AI Foundry. We can configure a custom data source. It may be the AI search, or maybe the Elasticsearch or MongoDB, or whatever it is. And then the AI Foundry, in the AI Foundry, we will be specifying the prompt and the system messages according to that questions. When the user asks, it will be answering those questions. So whatever question the user is asking, it will extract the informations from the database and use it as a grounding content. Okay. So that is the simple RAG approach. And yes, there are. It is possible for us to go and secure our applications by providing the grounded, means guarding informations inside the system message. So inside the system message, I can specify, okay, if you are not able to answer, you can provide a generic answer, or you can say if the user is asking about some sensitive data, or maybe some security related data, it should be ignored, or you have to give a answer saying, okay, I cannot answer this question. So that kind of informations, or that kind of instructions you can give to the model using this system message as well. Okay. And by default, the Azure AI Foundry, or the Azure AI, the OpenAI models which we are deploying, is using some kind of content filters. Okay, so this content filter, you can see default content filter is used. So what is this content filter? A content filter is defining a set of uh, security guidelines, so that it makes sure that there is no jailbreak attempts, or there is what to say, no prompt attack. There is indirect attack will be prevented. If there is certain phrases or terms will be used in the prompt, we have to block it. or if there is a sexual, self-harm, violence content, then it has to be blocked. So you can configure all these using this content filters. It is by default, Microsoft is using a level of protection for securing your application, but it is possible that you can also go and customize it. So you can see by default, all these models are using a Microsoft defined content filter. So here you can see the content filter is already configured, but it is possible for us to go and customize it, because here we have an option to go and create content filters explicitly. Okay, so I'm not explaining with that, but yes, content filters is an option that helps you to make sure that your AI applications are highly secured, because you can provide some kind of guidelines or some kind of policies in the using the content filters to make the prompt and the completion. That means the inputs and the outputs are secured. Okay, so that is about creating the AI applications using the Open AI and the Azure AI Foundry, means using the RAG approach. So that's it from my side. Now it's the time for a question and answers. If you have any questions, I request you to post your questions in the chat,